so much, Violetta, and just welcome to our esteemed speakers. And thank you so much for my colleagues, both Violetta and Rajni, for co-creating this beautiful experience and journey that we've taken this full year into really understanding mental health. And we like to normally start these webinars with just a moment for us to just take a breath. And I'm just going to invite you to just center yourself, bring all of your awareness into this beautiful moment. And with either your eyes open or closed, I just invite you to listen to these beautiful words, an excerpt from a song called Radiance by Jai Uttal and Ben Leibach. And so just feeling our feet planted on the ground, just taking a few breaths in and out, just becoming fully present in the body. I offer you these words. Peace to the inner and outer environments. Peace to the 5 elements within and without. Peace to this body. Peace to this mind. Peace to this huge ocean of emotions and feelings. And by the power of the truth and for the happiness of all beings, may we have a culture of peace, a society of peace, a world of peace, where we can have days of peace, nights of peace, sleep with peace, and dreams of peace. By the power of the truth and for the healing of all beings, may we have peace in all moments and in everything. And then we just take a deep belly breath in, breathing from the bottom of the belly. Bring that breath right to the top of your head. Pause for a moment or two. Just exhale out your mouth with a sigh. When you are ready, just gently start opening up your eyes. And with this, I would love to invite our first speaker now, Kleio Apostolaki. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Kleio studied psychology with clinical psychology at the University of Kent in Canterbury, the UK, and continued to study her master's in science and mental health at the University of London, King's College, where she majored in dynamic and cognitive behavioral psychotherapy. In Greece, she completed studies in short-term anxiety-provoking psychotherapy, and then continued while training also in family counseling, child, adolescent mental health, learning disabilities, and psychometric tools. In 2009, she got a diploma in Ecopsychology from the University of Strathclyde in Glasgow and studied Dolphin Assisted Therapy for children and adults with psychological, neurological, and mobility problems at the Dolphinswim Institute in Austria, in collaboration with the Sigmund Freud University of Vienna. From 2021, She specialized in trauma therapy from the Institute for Coping with Trauma in Germany. She's a certified adult educator and vocational guidance and responsible for the IES training in Ecotuning, applied ecopsychology, educational program in Greece, provided by the Hellenic Society of Ecopsychology. She's worked in the adult psychotherapies department at Guy's Hospital in London, and since 2002, she's been working as a freelancer in Greece. She's taken part as a lecturer in numerous international and national conferences, and moreover, articles in magazines and daily press where she's participated as an invited expert. She's a member and former president and current board member of the International Society of Ecopsychology, and officially recognized as the representative of the IES in Greece with the establishment of the Hellenic Society of Ecopsychology. And so with this, Kleio, we welcome you, and I hand over to you. We're very interested also to learn more about ecopsychology.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. I'm very glad to be with you, and I'm really into the connection of different organisms and societies, because we live in an era that people by themselves, by certain groups, cannot bring change, but with intercorrelations, we can really do more things. Ecopsychology, for those who have not knowledge about that, because as a term, it's introduced in 1992. However, a lot of disciplines have made research on the connection of nature and human towards the benefits of both, because this is exactly what also ecopsychology does quite differently from psychology. Ecopsychology is not directed again towards human well-being, but it recognizes that for human well-being, the reciprocal relation with nature is important also for the planet well-being, because we live in a web of life, that we are all interconnected, and ecopsychology comes as an add in psychology that so far was focusing only to humans and the environment, the human environment of humans, and has left a lot the environmental issue. However, Theodore Roszak, in his book, The Voice of the Earth, said that, okay, ecology is trying its best to make people concerned about the environment, and it's screaming about the effects of human destruction on nature. At the other end, there's a psychology that has the techniques and struggles for and screams for the equilibrium of human psyche. So both of these disciplines cannot work by themselves, because ecology is missing psychological defenses, why people are not taking actions toward a better planet, why people are self-destructive, because when you damage your environment, you damage nature, you damage your own health and your own future. So it's missing some ways of making people conscious about what they're doing. On the other hand, it's psychology, where it examines human behavior and development like it lives in another planet, only with humans, no other creatures, no nature. But psychology knows about defense mechanism, about social psychology, how people develop and behave, and why. Tries to give explanation why they behave themselves and to the planet this way. So from this proposal, ecopsychology derived, and it's very interesting that eco in ancient Greek language and still in our modern language means home. And of course, nature is our home. It's not somewhere that we just visit and then we go to the buildings. And with the eco, we can imagine how deep is our relation with nature. It's our home and it's home of all the creatures. So since then, ecopsychology was not well known because it was strange to people to see that nature, we go to nature, we feel relaxed, but what can nature offer to us? Psychology is a science, and we know already a lot about the human psyche and how we can explain it and how we can understand it. But then after, especially, I have to say this, that especially after COVID, that people, the only way of free themselves from stress and have a walk was in nature. Everything was closed. Everything that in consuming society was a relief, it was closed. So even people who didn't have any contact with nature were in a way forced to go to nature, and they understood the benefits of it. And then there were researches saying that due to nature, people could cope with this much better in their mental health. And then it started the interest in ecopsychology because there were research going on seeing how the remembering of our connection with nature, because it's not something new, it's not something that we learn, it's something that we have innate, but we forget. And we have forgotten all these years that we really built in especially in Western society, our society, with other values, with other interests, with other kind of progression. And it was very interesting that people started to see beneficial. Okay, what is going on with us going to nature? It's not just a walk or a relaxed free time. It can be something deeper, because if I feel this good only by taking a walk into nature, how it would be if I make a deeper connection with nature? How can I benefit from that? And really, a lot of scientists because ecopsychology, even though it's related to psychology, it's an umbrella of multi-disciplines, of multi-scientists, medicine, biology, education. It includes a lot of other views of how we can see our connection with nature as something that it not only it can help us connect with our inner natural self, because we are nature, we are not different from the wisdom that nature gives us, and at the same time understand why we need to connect and create relationship with the creatures around us. Because if we create relationships, that means that we get to know. It's like we do with the humans. When we meet somebody, then we are just getting to know each other, we exchange information about each other, and then we kind of like to go further with our relationship. And as we getting close and closer, we start caring, we start having emotions and feelings. And because we have emotional feelings and we develop that towards the other person, we start to care, love, protect. Therefore, in ecopsychology, in the applied ecopsychology, what we're trying to do is to cultivate relations with nature around us, different elements, different places. And when the person starts this, first the knowledge, not to be fear of, because we have alienated ourselves from nature. We're having emotions, but most of them, when we are so alienated, it's fear and it's stress. But when we get to know nature, because we have the biophilia inside us, and biophilia means that we have an innate tendency to connect with other forms of life around us. So when we awake this biophilia inside us, and we remember how it is to be part of this web of life, we start creating relations. And first of all, we learn from nature. We learn the wisdom. When we trying to find answer only with our brains and the human way of thinking, then we get quite confused a lot of times because we cannot find answers. When we go to nature, though, and we have an issue, then the psychotherapeutic techniques that we use in psychotherapy are working with nature, like a projection effect, or seeing our unconscious being mirrored in nature. And we can see that when we interrelate, we find more answers, sometimes in away from the psychotherapeutic session, and we find that very obvious in nature because it's a canvas that our conscious can be mirrored there and we can really understand. So in application of ecotherapy, because ecotherapy is the application of applied ecopsychology. When we work with different landscapes, with different themes, with different elements, for instance, with the change of the weather, with the rain, with the sun, with the sea, with the mountains, with the land, every part of it is inside us because all the elements are creating human. So my personal experience from that, even though that I'm practicing ecotherapy from 2008 and on, something like that, I was practicing ecotherapy for myself since I was a little child. And therefore I searched that when I was in the elementary school, was very little, even though we were living in a city in Athens, in a suburb of Athens, we had a garden. The garden had trees, a lot of plants. My father and my grandma was putting seeds, and we had our own vegetables. We had our own fruits. We had chickens. We had cats, and we had all the creatures that they can live in a garden. Some from very very soon in my life, I was going there at noon where everybody was sleeping, because in Greece we have the siesta time. But I never wanted to sleep at noon. It was not my style. So I had this peaceful moment for myself to go to the garden and focus on everything that was going on. The ants, the chickens, how everything was behaving, what was happening when something was dying. what was every procedure, every change in the trees and the plants that was going on in every season. So I was spending a lot of time there, and I understood life a lot through this time that I was spending in the garden. Or when I was sad and I had, the problems of the childhood with my parents, with my siblings, with my, uh, pupils at school, then I was going there and I could go to the lemon tree and cry, and then a cat was coming to support me. And a lot of things were going on. So when I studied psychology, I was wondering, okay, is that a feeling that I had that nature was doing so much good to me and helped me develop not only knowledge but experience by interacting with other creatures? And it was funny because my teacher at school, when she was saying something, I had always to say, that it's not like that. Like saying that the cats mainly eat meat. Not mainly, they eat only meat. And I said, no, the cats don't eat only meat. I have seen them, they eat grass. When we have a spare food of greens, they eat them. How can you say that they eat meat? And she was very frustrated about that and said, no, you don't know. In the book, it says that they eat just meat. And I said, no, because I see that. So it was quite funny with the teachers. And when I finished psychology, I was saying, why we don't really have a lesson about the environment? We had environmental psychology, that was just a chapter or section, but this one had to do with the environment in general, not the nature setting. And then I was really bothered because I said, okay, maybe I was a little bit hallucinating when I was a kid. Maybe that was not true. Maybe it was only me. And then I searched, and a friend of mine, because he knew that I was doing this research, he said, well, I think I found something that really matches your searches, and that was ecopsychology. And in 2 weeks, I took my bag and I went to Italy, where they had the first gathering of European Ecopsychology Society. And I found other people that were saying exactly the same thing. And say, yes, it exists. Yes, it's true. And we have to make ecopsychology, cultivate it and give it to people. And because really, nature is doing really well with human and planet, because it's not only us here. So this is how it began.
Thank you, Cleo. That amazing story. I can resonate, and I could see everybody else was really like nodding their head. So I think you're speaking to an audience that really gets it, and you're not alone in that. I know for me as a child, nature was a place to heal, a place to express, a place to observe and find my sense of belonging and worthiness in it. And I'm wondering if there are some applied eco-psychology or any tools that you have to practice. So if we feel overwhelmed or if we're feeling stressed or anxious, is there any practices that we could do with nature?
Yes, definitely. There are a lot of practices that we can do, but it's important to go gradually to these practices. For instance, uh, we understood as children the world with our senses. This is something that we miss nowadays because uh, we use most of our senses, vision. We see we see cameras, we see computers, we see our phones. We understand the world more with our vision, and our other senses are a little bit sleeping because they're defending themselves. For example, if you go to the city and you hear all this noise, all these crowds, you see the cars, everything that is going on, of course, you do not absorb it because you develop. We as humans can really adjust easily. So we have to defend our senses in order to survive, especially in the city. With the smell. Our smell is not the same as it was because we use more artificial ways of having, like perfumes, or even we need in our environment to have, strong perfume to understand how we can use the sense of with our nose, of smelling. And with the fuels in city, we don't smell it anymore. We get used to it. With the touching, how many people or how many things do we touch to feel pleasure from? Even with our taste, when we have a lot of artificial food in our tables that is not fresh from the garden. If you smell tomato, and then you go to the supermarket and smell it, then even if you smell a zucchini or tomato, is the same smell or the same taste. So our senses are very important because they awake our knowledge to the world. Even now, people are getting to know each other through, the internet, through chat, through words, and through other kind of communication that does not involve our decoding process that we use when we meet somebody and we say, I like this woman because I have a good vibe from here. We have decoded from all our senses what kind of person is next to us. Or we sometimes say, no, yeah, she looks nice, she speaks nice, she says nice words, but something I don't like, I don't feel comfortable. So when we isolate our senses, we cannot understand the world the way that we can really make decisions and give ourselves the chance to feel happy or feel safe. So one practice, I make this, I say this because I want to show how important is that, all the stress or when we are overwhelmed is also caused by from many factors, of course, but also from the fact that we don't have a full understanding of what's going around us. In nature, because it is a place that includes us, it's a place that it's safe to open our senses and reawaken our senses. Because, for example, when there's noise in your ears and your hearing is always something irritating, then if you get a defense, you get a defense in everything good as well. It's like you're wearing you're wearing a protection shield, but this protection shield does not keep away something bad only, but keeps away everything. So when we are in nature, one good practice, we always begin with a small mindfulness exercise in order to see where we are, where is our body, where is our mind, our emotions, how is our breathing, and focus on here and now. We can put off our shoes because grounding and earthing is a practice that many medical researchers have shown that the grounding, by putting our naked skin into the earth, to the soil or to sand, it helps us with our immune system, in our stress relief, and our palpitations, and also in inflammations. This was very interesting. So when we do that and we feel nice and safe, we open our senses by focusing on each one separately. Gradually, this is a start. When we go to nature, every time we go, we can also upgrade our experience. For instance, we go there and we close our eyes because this is what we use all the time. So we need to focus. So we close our eyes and we focus on our hearing. In nature, there's a lot of different I don't say noises, I will say voices. The voices of the creatures, the voices of the air coming through a tree. There's a lot of communication, other kind of communication. So when we concentrate on our hearing, we give the chance to absorb. When we upgrade, we can count maybe how many sounds we hear and from which directions. So there are plenty of techniques with each of the senses. The smelling, how is the air bring a smell into our nose? How can we smell? And it's interesting when you do that in a team because they have in the beginning everybody has a different counts different of how many birds can hear, or the smell, somebody cannot smell anything, the other is smelling the little detail of everything. And so you understand, okay, I need to practice this because I need to focus more because I cannot really let my shield go away. And start touching, not only with the hands, but also feel free to leave your skin open to the air and to the external factors that you can feel, the temperature, you can feel the humidity, everything that is running in the air, because a lot of things happening in the air when we are in nature, even though if we cannot really see it, but it's not important, we feel it. And when we make this focusing in our different senses, we can be ready for a silent walk. With a silent walk, we stop our thinking because we use a lot of words, and even if we cannot stop it, because it needs a lot of practice to go away from our everyday thinking procedure, what we can do is practice just not trying to kick off our thinking, but with a silent walk, by using my other senses, my concentration goes to other directions. And without using words, then the brain gets a little bit in peace. And I'm opening roots underneath and paths to communicate with whatever is around me. After this, it's a really interesting experience because when you do that repeatedly, then you see gradually a lot of changes.
Amazing. Thank you for taking us into a deeper step-by-step experience into really stepping into communion with nature. I often find that when we go for a walk, especially with our female friends, if we go for a walk in nature, normally it's just talking, talking, talking. And I often have to say, let's just breathe, let's be present, let's, just walk in silence or in mindfully through nature, because you miss out on so many things. Sometimes you feel better because you're talking, but I often think that sometimes if we're just really present in nature, all of that gets resolved anyway. There's a holding of us in nature in that way. So thank you. Kleio, any special self-care practice that you practice that you could share with us?
Self-care, you said, sorry?
A self-care practice that you use for
Self-care
yourself.
practice.
Yeah.
Yes, my personal self-care practice, because for each person, when you get to know nature, you identify with different elements of landscape that you create your own experience, and you feel differently than other people. Not all people love sea, or not all people like mountains. I have a kind of rituals that I'm, in a way, rituals that I'm using when I feel disconnected, because I feel sometimes disconnected. If we have too much technology for a lot of days, then for me it's too much, and I feel that I lose my contact, and I have to go to nature to get the contact back. So what I really like, I have a small dog, Trufa, and she's really the one that helps me remember that I need to connect, because she reminds me and forces me that, okay, let's go. Let's go to nature, because she does not like to go for a walk in the street. She wants to go to nature. She's crazy. And so she reminds me that, and I take care. And we go, we have here in my house nearby, about 10 minutes drive, there is a small paradise very close to the city, where is a river. And there's a lot of trees and a lot of nature, where a lot of birds go there. So my ritual is to go for a walk. A lot of times I learn from my dog, because I see how interconnects with the nature around. So every time I go there, and I sometimes I put a quest in my mind, saying that, okay, I need now to see what's going on right now in my present, and I need a feedback. But just the thinking, not having that in my mind. And then I observe everything around, and uh, somehow, it's not magic, it's projection. I come out with an answer, because I'm focusing unconsciously in something that really tells me um, what I need to have in my life right now as an answer. So the river, I really love the river, and the hearing, and calms me very much. The birds, that there are a lot of birds around, and also Trufa, that gives me every time a new information. Uh, of course, there's times that you cannot reach easily nature. So in the house, I really like to uh, put some music coming from wild forest, or something that brings me with my fantasy in my mind uh, to the Amazonias, or the deep blue. So I create sometimes an environment that with different scents coming from nature, and even bake something, because it's the innate feeling of um, you know, cooking, that you feel that you create a food from fresh and nice vegetables or fruits. So you generally somebody can connect with a lot of things, even if it's in the house.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Claire. Those are great self-care practices. I'm wondering, Rajni or Violetta, do you have any questions for Claire at this stage?
I have a question.
Rajni.
If time permits,
Rajni.
then I would like to ask that question. Cleo, first of all, thank you so much for the wonderful knowledge that you provided us. And my question may appear very practical question that has become major issue nowadays, especially in big cities, including many Indian cities. That's stress related question, and that is the sound sleep. The issue is that sound sleep, because sound sleep is considered to be as one of the key parameters of good mental health. And nowadays I hear about so many therapies, even natural ways like dipping your feet in epsom salt, which is rich with minerals, magnesium, sulfate, and all that. So
Mhm.
in general, to your clients or whosoever comes with such problem, what is your suggestion to them? Because not everybody has a luxury to be in nature all the time.
Mm. If I understood right, you said about sleeping problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay, sleeping is it's the time because in sleeping we the beta waves leave from our brains, which is what we really need to make all our tasks, and then we need to go to the theta waves, that then we can have a sleep. When we need to move from one to another, to from everything that is in our mind, and we go to sleep, means that we first need to let our brain clean, give time to ourselves to relax in another way, not just go to the bed and to try to find sleep, because sleep is something that comes gradually when you let yourself out of the everyday life problems, which is not easy. Therefore, many people have sleep problems, and they are taking pills, or they are trying, to go to the gym late at night, so they will fall really tired down. Uh, when you go to nature and you have a relaxed end of the day, for instance, because yes, you cannot go to nature all the time, but you can have nature in your home before you go to sleep. You can occupy a little bit with the gardening, take care of your plants, or you can meditate a little bit to, in India, that meditation is a good practice. I don't know if it's quite, it's at least for us, meditation is something that we use nowadays to be present and centered to yourself. Um, of course, to each person, the techniques may different, may be different. But when you, because the connection with nature has relaxing effects on your body and mind. So if you can include some time with nature, even in your own room, or there's some plants also that you can put in your bedroom, or a nice scent, a relaxation scent of lavender. Natural ways with natural material, or eat the tea, or drink a tea that has botanicals with relaxation effects. You can put nature in this procedure. But of course, the main reason of not being able to sleep, if you exclude any medical reason of not sleeping, is because of the stress. And when you interrelate with nature in any way, in your body, in the ways that we said. You can approach a lot the time that you can just close your eyes and be in peace in yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Well, here I have now a quick question, really. Can we humans be in this radiant well-being and full connection while getting all these negative impulses from all over the world that lead to, or let's say that bring the message of this ruthless, authoritarian, dominant energy which is floating all around? What would be your advice to keep yourself in this radiant well-being in a sustainable manner while all these impulses of negativism are all around us?
That's a very good question, Violeta, because yes, you're very right. We have all this information, all these things that when we open our mobile and we scroll, we get full of so many information, all this picture, because everything is now interrelated with the vision. And this causes a lot of stress because you don't have the time to proceed all this information and especially all these bad things that are happening around us. What is very important in ecopsychology and what we can see in the work of Joanna Macy, that she was occupied with deep ecology, and she was a pioneer in recognizing the deep emotions towards Earth of people, that we are overwhelmed with emotions when the planet around us is not in a healthy position, not in a healthy way. So what she was proposing and she was making train of is, first of all, when we feel that not when we feel, when we realize that we have all these bad things that are happening around, and it's over us to not to control them, but to understand them and find our position in all this mess around us. What is very important is to recognize our emotions, to see how we feel, and work with our emotions towards this insanity. Because personally, I feel a lot of insanity around, and I'm really struggling, as you say, to cope with it. And there's many people like that. But what we need to do, first of all, is focus on what we can take. It's no need to expose ourselves to all the destruction of the world in one day, because we can have opposite results of that is, because it says, okay, how I close our eyes in what is happening around us and say, okay, that's not my type, I go to party now. No. This is not helping when you have all this picture, does not help you take action. It arises the issue of defense. You're defending. When it's too much, you're defending and you are closed. You stop having emotions and you just pass by everything and nothing happens because you cannot deal with all this mess. What we need to do is control, first of all, to what we are exposed on. Be aware of what is happening, but it is not useful to have all this violence in picture in front of us. Deal with our emotions, what this causes us, recognize our emotions, and see what is our position on this, what we can do, so we can feel that we can be kind of active and not be victims. Because if we close our eyes, defend against everything, we raise our defense mechanisms, and this leads us to apathy. And when we reach the point of apathy, nothing can be changed at all. I don't know if I answered to your question, but it's not, we have the resilience, but it has it's like a coin that it has two sides. On the other hand, not close your eyes. On the other hand, overexposure can lead to the opposite. So keep a balance.